Hello class, hope you've all been well. Today we will talk about another important disease of blood vessel, that is aneurysms. So learning objectives of today's session are definition of aneurysm, types of aneurysm, pathogenesis of various types of aneurysm, morphology of different aneurysms, and complications of aneurysms. How do we define aneurysm, or what are aneurysms? Aneurysm is defined as a permanent, localized, abnormal dilation of a blood vessel or a wall of heart which occurs due to congenital or acquired weakening or destruction of the vessel wall. So due to any reason which may be congenital or acquired, the vessel wall becomes weakened and that leads to dilation. And this dilation is abnormal. It is permanent. That is, it does not go back. It is not temporary. It remains permanent and it is a localized dilation. So a diffuse swelling of a limb or something, we don't call it as aneurysm. Aneurysms are localized dilations. And they commonly involve the large elastic arteries like the aorta and its major branches, or as I've said, they may involve the wall of heart, any chamber. So first is, how are they classified depending upon the composition of the wall? So according to this, they are classified into true aneurysms and false aneurysms. False aneurysms are also called as pseudoaneurysms. Now true aneurysm means the wall is made up of all the three layers of the normal vessel. The dilated pouching that is there, that is lined by all the three layers, the intima, the media and the adventitia. Though these layers may be thinned out or even may be attenuated. Examples of true aneurysms are all the types of aneurysms that we see commonly. The atherosclerotic, syphilis, congenital aneurysms, they are all true aneurysms. What are false aneurysms? Now false aneurysms, when the dilated area pouch has a fibrous wall which is not made up of the three layers. It may just be made up of the outer adventitia or perivascular connective tissue, may contain a blood clot also. And more often this is due to trauma to the vessel wall rather than an aneurysm. And this trauma essentially, we can say for example, hematoma formation which occurs, or when there is a leak at some suture junction, that is we see a swelling over there. So that swelling is a pseudo or a false aneurysm. In this diagram, we can see this is the normal vessel. This is an aneurysm which is a true aneurysm. You can see the wall of the outpouching is lined by all the three layers of the vessel. Now here this is a false aneurysm where you can see that this is a hematoma which is formed. It is just lined by the outer layer. It may be an adventitia, a little bit of extravascular connective tissue. So this may look like a swelling or a dilation, but this is in fact a pseudoaneurysm or a false aneurysm. Again, another picture which shows these two as true aneurysms, and this is a false aneurysm. Due to some reason there is a leak of blood outside in the extravascular space, and it may be lined by connective tissue and at times by adventitia. Dissecting aneurysm is a distinct entity which we will discuss later. Now depending upon the shape. Depending upon the shape, aneurysms can be classified as saccular aneurysms, which are large spherical outpouchings. So localized spherical outpouchings, fusiform aneurysm, which are slightly spindle-shaped outpouchings. Cylindrical aneurysm, which are continuous parallel dilations. Serpentine or varicose aneurysms, which you can see many tortuous dilations. Racemose or cercoid type of aneurysms, which are a mass of interconnecting small arteries and veins. And the last are the berry aneurysms, which you generally see as these are pictures of fusiform and saccular aneurysms. So these are the berry aneurysms which you see around the circle of Willis, small dilations in the base of the brain, which is seen in relation to the middle cerebral arteries. Now, based on pathogenesis, or you can say based on etiology, the commonest cause of aneurysm is atherosclerosis. The second common is hypertension. So atherosclerosis and hypertension are two most important causes of aortic aneurysms. Other causes are syphilitic aneurysms, or we also called it in older books, it was written as lutic aneurysms, dissecting aneurysms, which is due to blood entering the separated or dissected wall of vessel. Then there are mycotic aneurysms, which is due to weakening of the arterial wall by microbial infection. Or aneurysms due to Marfan syndrome, Loeydith syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, in which the intrinsic quality of the vessel wall connective tissue is poor. Other causes of aneurysms are trauma, vasculitis, or congenital defects. Now let us see the pathogenesis of aneurysms. We all know aneurysms develop due to weakening of the vessel wall. The wall is weakened, so it leads to dilatation. Now, why does this weakening occur? There are many causes. The first is there is some compromise in the structure or function of connective tissue in vascular wall. That is, there is either inadequate or abnormal synthesis of connective tissue of vascular wall. We know that TGF beta, that is transforming growth factor beta, regulates the smooth muscle proliferation and synthesis of connective tissue matrix. So any mutation in TGF beta leads to defective synthesis of the matrix, that is elastin and collagen, that leads to dilation and aneurysm formation. We can see these examples as in Marfan syndrome. In Marfan syndrome, there is defective synthesis of fibrillin. What is fibrillin? Fibrillin is the scaffolding protein. And if there is defective synthesis due to aberrant TGF beta regulation, it leads to weakening in the elastic tissue, leading to aneurysm formation. Another example is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, in which there is defective type 3 collagen synthesis. Another example is Loeydith syndrome, in which there is mutation in TGF beta receptors, and thus there is defective synthesis of elastin and collagen 1 and 3. In vitamin C deficiency also, there is altered collagen cross-linking. So all these are examples of inadequate or abnormal connective tissue synthesis leading to weakness of the vessel wall. Another cause is increased degradation of connective tissue. Now, why does this occur? This occurs due to increased action of MMP, that is matrix metalloprotease enzyme, in inflammation. Not only MMP but many other associated proteases also increase in inflammation, and also they are released by macrophages, especially in atherosclerosis, vasculitis, and so because of degradation of connective tissue, the wall is weakened and leads to aneurysm formation. Another cause for aneurysm development is loss of smooth muscle cells. These smooth muscle cells may be lost due to ischemia of the inner media or ischemia of the outer media. Now, the inner media ischemia is due to the formation of atheroma in the intima in atherosclerosis. It compresses on the inner media and leads to ischemia. And ischemia of the outer media occurs in systemic hypertension. Thus, due to above causes, there is loss of balance of collagen synthesis and degradation of vascular wall leading to aneurysm formation. Based on location. According to location, aneurysms are divided into abdominal aortic aneurysm and thoracic aortic aneurysm. Aortic dissection, as I said, is a distinct entity. Abdominal aortic aneurysms are most of the times associated with atherosclerosis. Thoracic aortic aneurysms are associated with hypertension, syphilis, Marfan syndrome, and other syndromes. So, according to location, if we can see that this is the thoracic aorta where we can see the causes of syphilitic aneurysms. This and this is due to syphilitic aneurysms which occurs in the ascending aorta and arch of aorta. Dissecting aneurysm also occurs in the ascending aorta or arch of aorta. Atherosclerotic aneurysms generally occur in the abdominal aorta. So they are shown here. So first we will see the abdominal aortic aneurysms, AAA. Now aneurysms occurring due to atherosclerosis form most common cause of abdominal aortic aneurysms. So first we see atherosclerotic aneurysm. This, as I said, atherosclerosis is the most common cause of abdominal aneurysms. Males incidence is more than females, incidence is more in smokers, never seen in less than 50 years of age or rarely seen, and mostly seen above 50 years of age. Sites, most common site of atherosclerotic aneurysm is the abdominal aorta or the descending aorta, because we studied in atherosclerosis also that atherosclerosis mostly affects the abdominal aorta. Then later in next, thoracic aorta may be involved, iliac arteries and other large systemic arteries may also be involved. Aneurysms in the aorta are maybe fusiform, saccular or cylindrical in type. Now, why do aneurysms occur in atherosclerosis? We already know the pathogenesis, that due to severe atherosclerosis, there is atherosclerotic plaque in the intima, and this leads to destruction of the medial elastic tissue. And because it is destroyed, it leads to thinning of the media. And this thinning reduces diffusion of nutrients from the lumen to the wall, leading to atrophy, necrosis of media, and thus weakening of the vessel wall. Another reason which we saw was that because of increased activity of MMP enzyme, there is excessive degradation of extracellular matrix which is secreted by the macrophages in atherosclerotic plaque. So this aneurysms, atherosclerotic aneurysms, are commonly seen in abdominal aorta. Frequently we see them in the infrarenal area, so below the renal arteries and above the bifurcation of iliac arteries, but they may extend into the iliac arteries. So this is the site of abdominal aortic aneurysm. Another picture again showing abdominal aorta showing atherosclerotic aneurysm. Again, this is another atherosclerotic aneurysm showing site of rupture. This figure from Robbins shows here opened aneurysm showing a disorganized thrombus. Histology is not really very significant because what you may see is just wall of atherosclerotic aneurysm. It loses its normal structure. There may be presence of fibrous tissue in media adventitia, mild chronic inflammatory infiltrate, and remnants of atheromatous plaque may be seen in the intima or the inner part of media. So that is about atherosclerotic aneurysm. So as we said, atherosclerotic sclerosis is the most common cause of abdominal aortic aneurysms. Now there are other causes of abdominal aortic aneurysms. They are due to inflammatory causes. So it is inflammatory abdominal aortic aneurysms which comprise 5 to 10% of abdominal aneurysms seen in younger patients. Cause is immune response to abdominal aortic wall and characterized by periaortic fibrosis, lymphoplasmacytic and macrophages infiltrate. Another cause of abdominal aneurysm is immunoglobulin IgG4 related diseases. Another cause of abdominal aortic aneurysms are the mycotic aneurysms, which we said that they are due to the weakening is due to infection by microbial organisms. It is a misnomer. It is not only due to fungus. These aneurysms are formed. They are due to bacterial infection or maybe by fungus. And how does this infection occur? The bacteria may have come either from the septic embolus, that is from a source of infective endocarditis, or they may be an extension of some adjacent infection process. When there is an adjacent suppuration, from there it has extended to the vascular wall, or it may be directly infecting the arterial wall by circulating organisms. And this infectious process, it destroys the media and leads to aneurysm formation. Clinical effects or consequences of abdominal aneurysms. Most of these are asymptomatic and they are discovered incidentally on physical examination as abdominal mass. Other symptomatic complications are rupture, compression, occlusion and thromboembolism. Rupture is a serious and fatal complication which is the common cause of death in these patients. Due to rupture, there is massive bleeding in the peritoneal cavity and in the retroperitoneum because this aneurysm is located in the abdomen. Another effect or consequence is compression. Compression or impingement of adjacent structures. That is, example, the aneurysm may compress on the ureter, it may compress on the vertebral bodies, causing erosion. Then arterial occlusion may occur of the vessel which are branching off from the aorta, which may result in ischemic injury to supplied tissue. Thromboembolism is also commonly seen in abdominal aneurysms. Now we come to thoracic aortic aneurysms, that is, aneurysms which occur in the thoracic aorta. This is the normal aorta. Here you can see aneurysm formation in the ascending and arch of aorta. Most common cause of thoracic aneurysms is hypertension. Other causes are Marfan syndrome and Loeyd's syndrome, and syphilis is also, as we saw, is an important cause of thoracic aortic aneurysms. So first we will see syphilitic aneurysms. So cardiovascular syphilis occurs in 10% cases of syphilis, occurs generally in tertiary phase of syphilis. But nowadays incidence has decreased as the cause of syphilis as the cause of aneurysm. So it is nowadays a rare cause of aneurysm. Both aortitis and cerebral arteritis are common. Age is more or 50 years, males more than females. Sides, so thoracic aortic involving the ascending part and the arch of aorta. And because it involves the ascending aorta, it may extend proximally to involve the aortic valve and distally to involve the abdominal aorta. Pathogenesis of syphilitic aneurysm. One of the major complications of syphilitic aortitis is aneurysm formation, that is 40% of cases develop aneurysm. It starts from an inflammatory infiltrate which is seen around the vasa vasorum of adventitia. These treponemes have an affinity to be around the vasa vasorum. So they begin an inflammatory infiltrate around these small blood vessels. This inflammatory infiltrate consists mainly of plasma cells. And once this infiltrate surrounds the vasa vasorum, they compress it, and this is called as endarteritis obliterans, or we also call it obliterative endarteritis. So this leads to compression of vessels, which leads to ischemic injury to media, and that causes destruction of smooth muscles and elastic tissue of media, regeneratively scarring formation, and thus weakening of the vessel wall. So morphology grossly, if we see, most of these are saccular type of aneurysms with diameter of 3 to 5 centimeter. The intimal surface has a tree barking appearance. The bark of the tree, as you can imagine, is the way it is wrinkled. So the intimal surface looks wrinkled because of fibrous tissue present there. And in cases where there is aortic valve involvement, there will be stretching and rolling of valve leaflets leading to valve incompetence and left ventricular hypertrophy due to volume overload. So these syphilitic aneurysm patients have a massively enlarged heart, that is 3 times the normal weight, and that is why they are called as cor bovinum, that is the heart that is of the cow. So thus, because of the increased size, it is called as cor bovinum. So we can see in this picture, this is the intimal surface. Intima shows fibrosis, which gives a tree bark or wrinkling appearance. And this is the media and the adventitia, which shows these vasa vasorum, small blood vessels, which are surrounded by plasma cells. This is known as obliterative endarteritis. Microscopically, if we see, in the adventitia, you may see fibrous thickening and endarteritis obliterans of vasa vasorum. We'll see this in this figure. You can see media and adventitia show this obliterative endarteritis. So higher magnification, we can see this is the vessel vasa vasorum surrounded by cells which would be plasma cells. Rarely, very rarely, treponemes may be seen, which can be demonstrated by staining with Wardin-Starry silver technique. Clinical effects of syphilitic aneurysms are again rupture, compression, and cardiac dysfunction. Rupture again is common, but here bleeding occurs in the pleural cavity, the pericardial sac, the trachea, and the esophagus, because location of syphilitic aneurysms is in the thorax. Compression on adjacent tissue, that is the thoracic tissues, would be compression of trachea, which leads to dyspnea, compression of esophagus leading to dysphagia, recurrent laryngeal nerve leading to hoarseness of voice, then erosion of vertebra, sternum, ribs may also occur. In cases where the aortic valve is involved, it may lead to cardiac dysfunction, that is aortic incompetence and cardiac failure. So that is about thoracic aortic aneurysms. The last type of aneurysm is the dissecting aneurysms, or we now call it as aortic dissection. This is a distinct type of dissection. It is a dissecting hematoma in which blood from the aortic lumen enters the aortic wall and spreads for varying distance longitudinally to form a blood film channel within the aortic wall. Most common site is aorta, and this is an acute catastrophic aortic disease. So it is an emergency, because here this is nothing but the blood from the lumen. It dissects into the aortic wall and forms a longitudinal channel within the aortic wall. Age incidence is 50 to 70 years, mostly seen in men. So here the tear begins here in the ascending aorta and it dissects the wall of the aorta, tearing through the vessel. And in doing so, it separates the vessel wall into two compartments. On one side, on the luminal side, is the intima and the inner 2/3 of the media, and on the other side is the outer 1/3 and the adventitia of the vessel wall. So this is shown very well in this diagram from textbook of Hirschman. Now this tear, it can extend again proximally into the aortic ring and distally into the abdominal aorta. In 10% of cases, there is a second intimal tear also. So this was a tear which occurred in the ascending aorta. In 10% in distal part of aorta, there is a second intimal tear, and the blood which has entered the false lumen through the proximal tear, it re-enters the true lumen through the distal tear. Now, if these patients survive, this false lumen may develop endothelial lining, which may lead to formation of double barrel aorta, because now we would have two true lumen which are lined by endothelium. So we've already seen this picture. Now types, based on the extent of dissection, aortic dissection has been divided into type A and type B. Type A are generally the proximal lesions. We will see this in the diagram. These are type A and this is type B. So type A are generally proximal lesions which either involve both the ascending aorta and the descending aorta, or they may involve only the ascending aorta. If it involves both ascending and descending, this is known as DeBakey type 1. Type A, but DeBakey type 1, which is seen in 75% of cases. And when it involves only the ascending aorta, this is known as DeBakey type 2. It occurs in 5% of cases. In type B, these are distal lesions which generally begin distal to the subclavian artery. They do not involve the ascending aorta. These form 20% of aortic dissection. So these are the type B type of aneurysms. histological changes if we see. We'll see this in this diagram. So here you can see that the changes that we see in this are known as cystic medial necrosis. That is a type of degeneration. And as the name suggests, it is characterized by formation of numerous cystic spaces which contain basophilic extracellular ground substance. You may see focal separation of muscular and elastic tissue in the media, fragmentation of elastic tissue, which we will see by special stains. And there is increased fibrosis of the media. So this is what I said, special stain of elastic tissue. This diagram is showing normal media. This is a figure from textbook of Robbins. This is normal media which is showing regular layered pattern of elastic tissue. Whereas this is from a section from a vessel of Marfan syndrome, which shows elastic fragmentation. You can see fragmented elastic tissue over here. Again, complications or clinical effects. As we said earlier, aortic dissection is a catastrophic emergency. Patient presents with excruciating tearing pain in chest which moves downward. Consequences are rupture. Hemorrhage from rupture of aneurysm in ascending aorta is fatal in 90% of the cases and is the commonest cause of death. If it involves the aortic valve, may lead to aortic valve incompetence. Infarction may occur if there is involvement of the coronary ostia also. And ischemia may occur if there is obstruction of branches of aorta by the dissection. It may lead to renal infarction, cerebral ischemia, or infarction of spinal cord. So that is about aortic dissection. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you and have a nice day.